My name is Rudy. I'm with Spoiler Force Podcast. Today's guest, I have Steff Von Schweetz here. She's a guest at A-Kon. As you can see, her cosplay is Haku. I love the mask that you have with it too.
I try to incorporate all my masks into my costume right now. It just makes life a lot easier, and they're a little bit more photogenic than a sad plain mask.
I think that's a really great opportunity for cosplayers too, because I think there's people that was wearing Gundam masks or Star Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other ones that you're working on or have?
I have one to match all of my costumes for the weekend. So tomorrow I'll be Nami from One Piece. So I have her little insignia on a mask that matches the outfit. And then I have my own little witch character for Sunday, and it has little moon motifs because I have a bunch of moon motifs on the costume.
So I follow you on social media.
Thanks.
And on your post, you said this is the first time you've done Haku.
Mm-hmm.
So how was the creating the costume? Was that difficult at all?
So I figured the costume wasn't going to be super difficult. The only thing was the pants. And it's actually one of the reasons that I wanted to make the costume was because of the pants. Most people you see use just a striped fabric, but I saw a figure a long time ago where he was actually wearing hakama pants, and the stripes signified the pleats in the pants. And I really love that concept. I like to work with more organic fabrics and textures to bring out more unique and interesting aspects to costumes. So actually getting the rib knit, I know it can be difficult to see, but this is rib knit fabric instead of just the plain stripes, and then I incorporated the stripes in the pants with the hakama pants. So I've never made hakama pants before, so that was probably the most time consuming and taxing part of the costume.
I remember watching or reading the manga for Naruto, and that was Haku's one of the first characters I discovered. And when he revealed himself to Naruto, I thought that was hilarious. When he just tells Naruto oh, I'm a boy too, and walks away, and then Naruto's oh my god, he's prettier than Sakura.
It's so good. It's so good. But I love characters like that, very androgynous looking. They're fun.
Would you say Haku's one of your favorite characters in the show?
I'd say it probably is. The number one slot goes to Gaara, though. And two, probably Shikamaru.
Okay. Yeah, those are good choices. I'd say one of my favorites is Rock Lee, for sure. And then, it's a tie between Shikamaru and probably Shino, too. I feel Shino's very underrated.
Shino is very underrated, but he's such a fun character. You never quite know what to expect with him, especially during his fights. He always surprises you.
So, with this weekend with A-Kon, you have your own booth. Are you selling anything there, like prints or anything like that?
Yes, I have a whole book of prints, which I hope people buy because I do not want to take them home. I also have a love of gardening, which I got during the pandemic, which has kind of melded with my love of grass-type Pokemon. So I have some gardening supplies, stuff that has to do with gardening and grass-type Pokemon as well. Little succulent planters with some of the Pokemon on it, little bags, things like that.
And you craft that all by yourself too?
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're crafting either props or your cosplay, how long did it take you to kind of just finally get the groove of that down? Because I'm pretty sure it was hard at first, trying to learn all of this.
So I'd say it's still difficult. I have been sewing and cosplaying for now 19 years, and I actually sew professionally. But that's one of the reasons I love cosplay, because it really tests your limits and it always pushes you to try new things. So even though I've been sewing for so long, I've never done accurate hakama pants, traditionally accurate. So that was a very wild ride for me, and it took me way longer than I expected to have for those. But the top was easy, the little over part was easy, but every single time I make something new, there's always some kind of challenge, because otherwise, what's the point, right? I sew for work, so if I'm not having fun creating something or learning something new during cosplay, it's just not worth it for me anymore.
I've been following you since 2015. That's where I met most of the cosplayers I know at Expo and all that stuff. One of the cosplays you have that I thought was really cool that stuck out to me was your Levi one. Because I didn't know if you were a boy or not. You had that down pretty well. And then like I think what you did the maid one too for
Yep,
maid Levi.
I've done a lot of really dumb Levi variant costumes just because my Levi ended up being way more popular than I expected. There was a surplus of Levi cosplayers, so I never thought like mine would gain any kind of recognition. So I just started having fun with it.
Yeah, your makeup was pretty on point too. Like I don't know too much about that. Was that something that you had to really work on too, or was that pretty easy for you?
So I never considered myself like a makeup specializing cosplayer, I think until Levi, because that costume really pushed me. I have a bit more of a baby face. And Levi is like all hard edges, the tiny eyebrows. So I really pushed myself in that makeup work. I don't even have like nice cheekbones. I literally had to draw them on. I had a friend who was like, wow, your cheekbones are incredible. And then she watched me like literally wipe them off with a makeup cloth and they're like, where did they go? I was like, ha, I fooled you.
It's like the Superman and Clark Kent transition. Like you can't tell anymore.
Yeah.
Are you planning to do like a, I guess like a post season 4 Levi, like where he has like the bandages and all of that?
I've actually thought about revisiting Levi. I haven't done him in quite some time. I moved on to a lot of edgy blonde characters somehow. I don't know. My trend just went that way. But I definitely have thought about at least redoing my original one because my makeup and my cosplay skills have evolved so much since that time period. So it's just fun to kind of redo things and see where you are now.
Yeah, you've done the Bakugo one recently too, right? Yeah, that one's really cool. Like I think one of the I guess the things that stand out for Bakugo's character, or at least for cosplay, is his gauntlets.
Yeah.
Was that pretty hard for you to make too?
I don't consider myself a prop person. Maybe at one point in my life I liked making like the stupid big props. But now I'm pretty much sewing focused, so going back to prop work for him because he has so many things on him, not just the gauntlets, but like the little leg pieces. And he has like the mask is very bizarre, and then he has the thing that goes over the shoulder, and there's just a lot to him. So that was kind of relearning a lot of skills. Was kind of taxing. Again, I'm not really a prop person, but I try. I try my best to kind of push myself into new levels of things.
You ever try to do like I guess work with people that's in those type of fields, like kind of I can't find the right word for it, but you know, just like
prop makers.
Yeah,
and
like collaborating with other people.
Yeah. I have outsourced a few things. One of my friends does 3D printing, so I've gotten some work done with him. I've had wigs done by a few friends before, but there's so many just different aspects of cosplay that if I haven't tried it, I'd like to at least try it. Or if it's maybe like a project that I'm like, I really want to focus on the sewing, I'll outsource another aspect. That way I give myself enough time to do the things that I love with the costume.
You know, going back to just when you first started cosplay till now and seeing the evolution of where you started, does that surprise you? Seeing how far you've come over, like what you said, 19 years now? Oh my God, like almost 2 decades of just cosplaying. So when you go back and look at day one, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, we had a little rougher back then. It was a very different world cosplaying in 2003. I think cosplayers really should take advantage of the resources that they have now. We didn't even have YouTube really back then to even understand like how to do certain things like wig work. We didn't even have wigs. We had Party City wigs, or you just got a can of the hairspray stuff in a color, and that's your hair. It was terrible. Didn't really do a whole lot with makeup. Joann's didn't have half the selection it has now. Yaya made it so that we have an actual cosplay section readily available in most places who have Joann's, which is incredible. So I think looking back at what I made so long ago, I laugh at it because it's terrible. But when you start looking at it, like everybody was terrible back then. Like there are only a few people who like really knew their way around a sewing machine, knew how to work with things like cardboard and different types of paints to really make a sword or some kind of prop look believable. Like it was so much more difficult back then. So it's awesome seeing how cosplay has evolved so much in pop culture. Like, you can say the word cosplay and people actually know what you're talking about now, which is really cool. Like, I used to be like, oh, I just do costuming for fun. And then they're like, is that like a weird sex thing? And I'm like, no. But now, like, right? Like, you'd be like, well, does that mean you're a furry? And it's like, there's nothing wrong with furries, but like, those are very different things. But the things that people knew for cosplay were just so limited, and they only knew like very specific aspects, like in porn or something. So now when you say you cosplay, people are like, oh wow, that's really cool. I've seen people at Comic-Con do that, or on TV. They have shows about cosplay now. So it's honestly so incredible, and I'm glad I got to experience the journey to what it is now, and I'm excited to see what comes of it in the future.
That's a great answer. I love seeing the growth of this community because, like I said, I've been following cosplay for a long time now. I remember the first time I ever saw cosplay. Of course, it was Naruto.
Of course.
You know, a lot of the, like, me and my cousins, we would look at the pictures from Japan and see like a lot of the cosplay girls who would dress up much better than the guys would, and they pulled off the male characters a lot better. And then seeing that from like what those MySpace days till now, and then like seeing how big this community has gone, it's just really cool to see like people like you and Yaya and Vivid Vision, who's here too, like be able to make something out of this. It's not just a hobby no more. You can actually pursue this and make money from this, or pursue different avenues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, have you thought about like doing Twitch stuff or like online classes, to like cosplay 101 type stuff?
So the best I can do for you is my TikTok. People have actually asked me here if I stream my cosplay progress, and no, because it would honestly be so terrible to watch. I'm one of those people, I'm a fast sewer, but my process is so slow. Like, I will sit at my table with my sewing machine looking at the fabric, being like, imagining what I need it to do and figuring out how to do it. So it would literally just be a camera staring at me, and I wouldn't move for 5 minutes. Who knows if I would even blink. I think the most entertaining thing about it would be the audience guessing when I will move or say something and not look like a crazy person on screen, because it's literally a very weird process.
I can relate to that for sure. Like when I do Twitch streaming, I'm too focused on the game where like I don't remember that I have an audience, so I don't talk to them, and then like I'll have like someone like do like a highlighted message on Twitch, like, hey, like we're still watching it, like, oh crap. So I stopped playing games because like I get way too focused. So I get that for sure when you're trying to work on your progress and all that. You know, there's also like the overhead shots you can do too, or like
me standing still.
Yeah, you see your hands like just moving.
Okay.
What's been the hardest cosplay you've created?
The hardest costume, I think, well, it changes because you're always wanting to push yourself and try new things. I'd say the hardest costume most recently is the one I'm actually most proud of right now, is my Bon Clay from One Piece. I did kind of an interpretation of Bon Clay, and instead of like the weird ball thing that he wears, I made it like an actual tutu for ballet. And I did that based off of the Mariinsky Theater in Russia, which is essentially where ballet was created, is most notable. So I found a pattern for one of their very specialized tutus, and I made an entire tutu and bodice based off what they do in this actual theater. And that was incredibly taxing. I can't imagine what will be more difficult than that. I'm sure there will be things, but many, many hours went into that. It was definitely the longest cosplay I've ever worked on. Just to give you some idea, tutus have a lot of layers of tulle in them. So it took me a full day just to cut the layers into strips, and it was almost a mile long of tulle at this point. And it's called dagging, when instead of having a flat tutu line, you have like a little scalloped edge to it. I had to hand do all of those, and that took 3 days just to hand cut out all the tulle into these little scallops. That's literally a mile length of tulle.
Wow, that's a lot. Do you still keep any of these cosplays that you've made, or have you like sold them, or what do you do with like the ones that you kind of just have? Because I spoke with Amber Sky's cosplay a while back, and we were talking about like how she had all these costumes from years before, and like she was kind of hoarding them. So is that kind of the same for you too?
So I do hoard costumes for quite a while. And honestly, I would love to sell my costumes and have them go to a new home and get repurposed, because you put a lot of love and time into the costumes you make. But I am such a small size that no one tends to fit my sizing, especially since most of my stuff is made for me. So it needs to be my exact size and proportions. And that's been a struggle. So some costumes I've literally had to throw away because they were just taking up so much space. And it's heartbreaking. Like, I want somebody to own these things. Like, at one point I was about to give them away for free, but still nobody could fit them. And I was just like, oh, it's so crushing. I hate doing it. There are some that I keep for a really long time and I'll probably hoard forever, that I'm really, really proud of, or have won awards or something like that, or I've gotten like signed signatures. But other ones, it's soul crushing to be like, no.
Yeah, I mean, you put all that time and effort into making it, so of course you don't want to just get rid of it, So that's like a huge loss, because like you put all that, all the money into it, and then like going to the conventions, when you look at it, you'll remember like what you did during that weekend and whatnot.
Well, not only that, it's a huge issue within the fashion industry to just throw away clothing. Because a lot of fabrics are not made through like cotton or natural fibers, so they don't break down very well. And if they're just going into like a trash heap in the middle of nowhere, they won't break down, and they're actually ruining our environment. So I would much rather keep passing them on if they're still in good condition, just for ethical reasons.
Did you have to burn some?
No, I haven't burned any. Okay.
Oh, man. So Steff, as we come towards the end of this interview, I just want to say thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's great to finally speak to you, because I've been debating about bringing you on the show. I just didn't know how to go about it.
You just messaged me and you're like, hey, you want to do this? And I'll be like, okay.
Okay, next time for sure. Yeah, because I have like this. I guess you could say some sort of anxiety when it comes to like messaging people online.
It's okay. I have anxiety when I receive messages. Yeah. I'm just like, do I know this person? Oh no. Do I owe them money? Oh no.
Yeah, like I said, I've been following you for quite some time. So like you were on the list. I just didn't know how to go about it, because like I know with con season and everyone's busy and all that. But for sure, I'll definitely reach out to you, bring you on the podcast, and we can talk more about this. For fans and followers who are watching this video, how can they follow you if they want to find out more about you?
So I'll pretty much everywhere I go by Steff Von Schweetz, except for Twitter because it didn't fit. So I'm Steff Von Tweets. And yeah, I pretty much read all my messages I get. So if anyone has, especially sewing questions, I always love answering sewing questions. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Coffee. I have a website. It's all good.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for being on this interview here. Again, make sure you guys follow Steff Von Schweetz. We are here at A-Kon, so it's gonna be a good time. I can't wait to see your costumes tomorrow and for Sunday as well. I'll drop by your booth, and I'll see you later on today as well. So thank you.
Thank you.